What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Today we are going to be talking about my top 5 Week 8 waiver wire pickups that I will be targeting in my fantasy football leagues as waivers run this week. So without wasting any more time, let's hop right into these 5 players. Now, the first player that I'm going to be targeting in my fantasy football leagues this week is going to be Darrell Henderson of the Los Angeles Rams, and he's currently being rostered in about 24% of leagues. And Darrell Henderson, he did re-sign with the Los Angeles Rams last week after we did have injuries to Kyren Williams and Ronnie Rivers. Both of them did land on IR, and in his first game back here with the team, Henderson did seem to take over that starting job almost instantly. He posted a stat line of 18 carries for 61 yards and a touchdown, and it does look like his familiarity with Sean McVay means a fast track to playing time and valuable touches in this Rams backfield, and Henderson looks like he's going to be the lead back for the Rams for at least the next 3 weeks while Kyren Williams works his way back from injury. I think he's a pickup that I would be targeting. He does have some upcoming opponents of the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, and then a bye week in week 10. Now, the second player that I'm going to be targeting in my fantasy football leagues is going to be Kyler Murray of the Arizona Cardinals, and Kyler Murray is rostered in about 42% of leagues right now, so he's still available out there in about 58% of your leagues. So more than half of your leagues have Kyler Murray on the waiver wire, and I think Kyler Murray is a bona fide fantasy football superstar when he is on the field. The Arizona Cardinals have opened his practice window to return from the PUP, and it does seem that Kyler Murray should resume as the starting quarterback here for the Cardinals in the next couple of weeks. This offense has looked a lot better in 2023 than it has in previous years past when it was led by Cliff Kingsbury, and I think when Kyler Murray is back on the field, it's going to help them tremendously. If your league is one of those 58% of leagues where Kyler Murray is still on the waiver wire, I think regardless of your team structure right now, he must be picked up, even though you may have to wait another week or so until he starts playing football. And despite some of his upcoming matchups being against tougher defenses, those opponents being the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the third player that I'm going to be targeting in my leagues is going to be Josh Downs, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, and he's currently being rostered in about 36% of leagues. Downs has finished as a wide receiver 3 or better in 4 of his last 5 games, and Downs is coming off of the best game yet in his career in week 7 despite seeing a tough matchup against the Cleveland Browns, and he finished with 5 receptions for 125 yards and a touchdown in this matchup. Now, Downs does look to be one of Minshew's favorite targets, and he's kind of competing for leading this team in targets with Michael Pittman Jr., and it looks like whether he is going to be that number 1 target or the number 2, he is still going to be a focal point of this offense moving forward, and I think that he can be rostered for the rest of the season and give you wide receiver 3 numbers as well as some wide receiver 2 spike weeks throughout that time. Downs does have upcoming matchups against the New Orleans Saints, the Carolina Panthers, and the New England Patriots. Now, the fourth player that I'm going to be adding on my fantasy football teams this week is going to be Kendrick Bourne, wide receiver for the New England Patriots, and he's currently only being rostered in about 26% of leagues. Bourne has officially stepped into a full-time role for the New England Patriots here, and their offense has started to look a little bit better over the last couple of weeks. Bourne played 95% of the team's offensive snaps in week 7 and commanded a 23.3% target share in that offense, and now has 2 top 20 finishes at the wide receiver position in his last 2 weeks, and he does have some really good matchups on the horizon. I think Bourne is a sneaky pickup that can produce for your fantasy football teams over the next couple of weeks, and those upcoming opponents are the Miami Dolphins, the Washington Commanders, and the Indianapolis Colts. And now the 5th and final pickup that I'm going to be targeting in my fantasy football leagues this week is going to be Dalton Kincaid, tight end for the Buffalo Bills, and he's currently being rostered in about 42% of leagues, and Kincaid finally had his breakout game last week against the New England Patriots, where he posted 8 catches for 75 yards and finished as a tight end 1 for fantasy football. Now, I know many fantasy managers have been frustrated with Kincaid as he's really split time with Dawson Knox for the majority of the season so far, which has limited his fantasy football upside. And although I still may not consider starting Kincaid against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 8, his next 2 matchups following that week 8 matchup are against the Cincinnati Bengals and the Denver Broncos, and both of those teams have really struggled against the tight end position so far this year. And I think if you have the luxury of holding Kincaid, he could be a playoff difference maker for fantasy football teams if and when the Buffalo Bills commit to making him the number 2 receiving option in this offense behind Stephon Diggs. And like I said, his upcoming matchups are against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Denver Broncos. Now, that is all I have for you guys today. If you did enjoy the video and you felt like you got some actionable fantasy football advice, go ahead and hit that like button. It is the best free way to show our channel some support. And if you want more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It is the best way to make sure that you always see our future videos. So make sure you're subscribed to our channel and hit that notification bell if you want to be notified notified when those videos come out. And last but not least, if you ever want to talk fantasy football, need advice in start sits, trades, waivers, or really just want to talk NFL, go ahead and join my free Discord. It is going to be linked in the description. And like I said, it's free to join, so there's no risk in doing that. With all of that being said, I will see you guys on the next video, but until then, peace out.